Let's talk New York Mets baseball. Boy, was it a great game today. The Blue Hat Bullies, they were in LA to face the Dodgers game 3 of this 3-game series. It was a rubber game. It was tied up 1-1. Mets coming off of a shutout. They got shut out 5-0. They were not having it today though. They came to play. They showed up. They showed out. They got the win. They won the series. They're moving on. They have now won 5 out of 6 on the West Coast so far. They move on to 12-7 on the season. What a game. Beatty was back in the lineup. Him and Alvarez started for the first time together. It was great to see them together on the field. I was happy for them. I'm glad that they were in the lineup. We needed that change. Did not want to see Escobar in that lineup again today. Did not want to see Tomas Nido. If you follow the channel, you've heard me say that before in other videos. I'm sure you guys have been saying the same. We need the youth in the lineup, and I mean, it's just a good thing. We need that to continue. Beatty didn't have any hits today, but that's fine. He did get on base. He had a walk, and he looked really good defensively. Alvarez went 2 for 4, scored a run in the game. He's starting to get a little bit adjusted. He's getting in there. He's getting the hang of this. He's not as high strung as he was the first couple of games that he was in, just chasing everything that he could swing at. So that's good for him. Glad to see those guys in there getting the reps that they desperately need so that they can get comfortable and, really help this team move forward and try to help move us into the postseason. We need these guys. We're really going to need them later on in the season. A lot of good hitting today. None better than Brandon Nimmo. Player of the game for sure. He went 5 for 5 with 2 runs, 2 RBIs. An outstanding performance by him. You can't ask for any more. I mean, his batting average and everything, his numbers just went way up. I'm happy for him. I'd love to see him continue to do that well. Love it. Complete 180 from yesterday's game offensively. One of the biggest stories from this game, of course, is old Crazy Eyes. Max Scherzer was ejected for possibly using an illegal substance on his glove. Scherzer went ballistic and was saying, "It's rosin, it's rosin, it's rosin." There's nothing on his hands. If you watched the game, you saw exactly what was going on. It was a long delay. He had only pitched 3 innings. He had 3 strikeouts, 2 walks, and 1 hit. He was actually doing really well up until the point of his ejection. He didn't have any runs scored or anything like that. It was it was a good game that up to that point. Neither team on both sides really scored up until that point. Crazy game, but let's get into it. Actually, after the game, he claimed that he was doing exactly what the MLB official told him to do. He said they told him that his hands looked a little bit sticky from the rosin. He said that he washed it off. He used a little bit of alcohol, and he said he did it right in front of them. So there's no reason why he would try to cheat or try to do anything to, get himself into trouble coming out into the 4th inning because they had, said something to him prior to that. But let's get into it. Like I said, scoreless game up into the 4th inning. Both pitchers were throwing shutouts. We had a delay in the 3rd. He had to go back into Scherzer, that is, had to go back into the dugout, clean his hands off, got a new glove, came back out. They let him finish pitching that 3rd inning. He finishes the inning, then he comes out in the bottom of the 4th. The umpires checked his glove again and said that he had an illegal substance on his glove and then threw him out. Like I said, he starts going berserk. He's screaming, he's cursing, he's upset. He went off. It was a long delay. If you watched it, the umpire was holding his hands out and kind of, sticking his fingers together to kind of show that, my fingers are sticking together. Whatever you have on there is not just rosin. Scherzer claims it was just sweat and rosin, and sometimes it gets a little stickier than usual when there's sweat mixed in with that. But who knows? He claims he didn't cheat. He claims he did exactly what the MLB official told him to do. The MLB official said different, so he's been ejected. We'll just have to see how this plays out. Haven't heard anything about any fines or anything like that. I don't know if he'll get anything, but we'll see. After that, Jimmy Yacobanis comes in. He replaced Scherzer, and the Dodgers struck shortly after that. David Peralta drove in Jason Hayward on a sacrifice fly. The Dodgers went up 1-0. Top of the 5th, Francisco Alvarez hits a single. He's calmed down. He's hitting now. Then Brandon Nimmo homers and puts the Mets up 2-1. We're up. 6th and 7th inning, we're pretty much quiet. Then we head into the 8th. Lindor doubles. Pete Alonso hits a single. Runners on 1st and 3rd. Jeff McNeil pops out on a foul ball. Then Tommy Pham is up at the plate. He's replacing Vogelback. We saw Buck doing some crazy stuff today. He was kind of throwing a player out there in the batter's box, but then when it's time for them to go up to bat, he would switch them around. He did that here with Pham, and he also did it with Eduardo Escobar and Beatty. Escobar was in the batter's box waiting to go up to bat, and then just before he went up to the plate, he swapped him back out with Beatty, and Beatty went in. So anyway, Pham is able to get the ball into the air, into right field for the sacrifice fly, driving in Lindor. Mets are now up 3-1. Bottom of the eighth, Dodgers started to threaten again just a little bit. David Robertson is on the mound and walks Freddie Freeman. Robinson throws a wild pitch after that, and Friedman advances to second. J.D. Martinez gets up to the plate, hits a double, and drives in Freeman. Score is now 3-2. Mets weren't done yet, though. We head into the top of the ninth. Guillorme walks. Nimmo, Mr. 5 for 5, hits a single. Runners are now on first and second. Mark Canha gets up to bat. He gets clutch, hits a double, and drives in Guillorme and Nimmo. Mets are now up 5-2, and that's pretty much all she wrote. Later in the inning, Canha tried to steal home and was injured. He looks like he kind of slid into the pitcher, but he was okay. He got thrown out. He walked it off and everything was fine. He laid there on the ground for a second, but he's okay. Great news. Hopefully nothing's wrong with him and he's not out. We need that guy. Bottom of the ninth, Dodgers tried to strike back again just a little bit. Peralta homered to bring the score to 5-3, but like I said, it just wasn't enough. Mets take the series 2-1. They're now moving on to face the Giants in San Francisco for a 4-game series. It starts tomorrow at 9:45 p.m. This pretty much could have been a devastating situation and loss of morale with Scherzer ejected, but I mean, the Metropolitans, they just shook it off. They acted like nothing happened and got back to the game. It didn't faze them. It didn't stop them. They kept right on playing. They kept right on hitting. They stayed in the game. The pitching was pretty decent. It wasn't the best in the world, but it wasn't horrible. The Dodgers are a really good team. They're a hard-hitting team. They hit a lot of homers. They're one of the best in the league. They're leading the league, or either second place in the league now in homers. I think it's them and Tampa Bay, if I'm not mistaken. They're now, the Mets, that is, are now 12-7, like I said, and they're looking like a top team to beat in the NL. I'm proud of them. They came and showed what they had today against a good team, a really good team. It's not like this is the A's. This is a really good Dodgers team, and I give them their credit. They played a hell of a game yesterday. They shut the Mets out, but the Mets came back, didn't let anything faze them. They didn't let the shutout faze them. They didn't let losing Max phase them, and they got the job done. They sealed the deal, took the series 2-1, and now they're moving on. Hopefully they continue this trend. I want to keep seeing Beatty. I want to keep seeing Alvarez in there. We need those guys to get all the reps that they need. We need some heavy hitters in there. We need some pop in this lineup. Hopefully it stays the same and we get it. Let's go Mets.